Hello and welcome to my channel. Now this is a bit of a departure from the content I normally make, which typically consists of tutorials and speed paints, but this is something I've been wanting to speak about. As you know, AI-generated content has been sweeping the internet over the past few years. Some of it is relatively harmless, but other forms of it can be used to make a profit or steal art. I know there are various opinions about AI and its effects. Some people don't see it as a problem. I'm not necessarily here today to convince you that it's evil, even if I may believe it is, but rather to show you a case study in which generative AI split apart a strong online community and fan base, destroying the culture of a game loved by many. Let's talk about Covet Fashion. Covet Fashion was launched in November 2013 by Jeff Seng, co-founder of CrowdStar. The game was specifically designed for women, as they were and are an underserved market in the gaming industry. In a blog in 2013, Jeff says, "CrowdStar is focused on making games for women, not girls, and core genres for women seemed like an oxymoron at the time. No one believed the market existed. Our mission is to change the interactive entertainment landscape and open a new category of games for women." So, how does Covet Fashion appeal to women? By combining community, creativity, and real-life fashion all in one game. Users can select a limited time challenge and style a model to encapsulate the theme. Users will vote on which looks they like best, and then, in a day or two, the results from your challenge will be in. Each step of the game is fun and laid back, and I personally believe the gameplay is very enjoyable. I've been playing almost every single day since 6th grade, so about 10 years straight. 10 years of my life. I have zero other games that I've played this consistently. The game encourages loyalty by offering a daily challenge that gives you 500 in-game dollars compared to the $100 or $200 you make from every other challenge. This makes it easy to log in and complete just one challenge a day, even if you're busy. This was very clever of CrowdStar because it makes playing the game every day, day after day, year after year, very easy. And the more you play, the more you'll earn in cash and clothes. There's even fashion houses you can join to chat with other users and compete together to earn more clothes. But I haven't even mentioned the biggest appeal yet of the game. The biggest appeal is that the clothing items that you are styling with come from real brands and real clothing items in real life. You are styling from real brands which, in theory, you could go out and purchase from. Their website says there are over 150 brands that you can style with, but when I counted them up, I counted over 420. 420 brands! Based on real-life clothing, jewelry, shoes, purses, swimwear, and accessories. And every single day, new items were added, amounting to over 4,000 new garments per season. This business model was truly a symbiotic relationship in which everyone was happy. Players got tons of amazing garments to style, and brands they could only imagine owning. This would fulfill players' daydreams of being so rich that they had thousands of items of clothing in their closet, or that they were a designer or a fashion model themselves. Brands, many of which were small labels, got to be featured in an app used by millions. If you look at it in a different light, Covet Fashion is essentially a game made up of millions of advertisements for clothing, and the app developers got to be the middleman, making all the money. According to Jeff Seng, 8 out of 10 users say Covet Fashion made them aware of at least one brand in the game, and 50% of players say the game has influenced their purchasing strongly or somewhat strongly, making Covet Fashion more influential than both friends and family and social media. It's hard to tell how much money Covet Fashion has made over the years, as they're a privately owned company, but with over 50 million downloads in the Google Play Store alone, they're certainly raking in the big bucks. Glue Mobile bought Covet Fashion in 2016 for $45 million, which they certainly wouldn't have done unless they knew they had something to gain. In 2021, Covet Fashion was purchased by EA, which was, of course, the beginning of the end. Since the 2010s and before, EA has been at the center of numerous controversies involving acquisitions of companies and anti-consumer practices in their individual games, as well as lawsuits alleging anti-competitive practices. In 2012 and 2013, the company was named Worst Company in America by Consumerist, and it was named 5th most hated company in the United States by USA Today in 2018. So it's really no surprise that the game began to decline in quality after this transition of power. Suddenly, the prices of in-app purchases began to skyrocket. For example, in 2025, it costs $9 to purchase a hair accessory in-game. $9 for a crown or a headband for your model to wear. Hair accessories have always been more than I would pay for them in-game, but $9 is absurd. I already have 50 of them that I have earned in-game for free, so I would never pay $9 to purchase one. Summer of 2025, the app started to look a little different. That is, the challenge thumbnails. Before this point, all of the challenges you could play had an image of the look or vibe you were trying to emulate with your model. Like a YouTube thumbnail, they'd show you what you should expect with the given challenge. There would be various themes, such as magical goddesses, representations of different cultures, or fun party looks. These images were always simply stock images. No complaints there. But in summer of 2025, these thumbnails took a turn. Suddenly, the women featured in the thumbnails were flawless, shiny goddesses with waxy skin, perky chests, and soulless eyes, all trademarks of an AI-generated image. Quickly, the amount of AI-generated thumbnails grew exponentially. I remember one day logging into the app, and all but one of that day's challenges were AI-generated. I came so close to uninstalling the game that day, but decided, as one last Hail Mary, to reach out to customer support and plead my case. I'll read you what I sent. Over the past few months, I've noticed the amount of AI-generated photos used in challenges increase substantially. I acknowledge that these challenges have frequently had digitally altered components, especially the clothes, but they've always felt more natural and understandable than these AI-generated images. I'm writing to complain about this for several reasons. For one, art is very important to me, and I hate to see art and photography be replaced by something artificial and sterile. Secondly, AI-generated images come with a negative environmental impact. Third, though the images typically used for Covet Fashion challenges contained beautiful models, the AI-generated women display a level of beauty not found in the natural world. They are eerily perfect, like gods, and if you are going to use AI, it would be beneficial to portray a more natural, realistic look with them. These perfect, smooth, and unsettling women are not indicative of womankind as a whole, much less a diverse group of people who love this app. I fear the day I see this app become completely overtaken by generative AI and completely lose its human touch. To conclude, I implore you to take a step back from the increased use of generative AI in this app. I am noticing this game lose some of its genuine connection with its users as it turns into something more sterile. My favor towards this app has slowly receded, but I love this game, so I felt the need to speak up. Thank you for your time and your consideration. In the end, AI always comes for the people. It steals our jobs, our abilities to be creative, and leaves us with unoriginal slop trained by stolen content. And in the case of Covet Fashion, AI has done just that. Covet has made the decision to completely stop all partnerships with real brands and replace real brands with generic AI-generated content. No longer will there be new clothes from any of the 400+ real-life brands featured in-app. They have removed the competitive advantage they had over any other dress-up game. They have replaced human creativity with AI junk. Not only that, but there will be simply less content altogether. Remember when I said that Covet used to release 4,000 new garments per season? That averages to 310 items per week. Now, there are only 40 items per week. 310 to 40. This change has been a quiet shift, starting with the advent of a new brand, Covet Basics. Generic clothes, often with odd, misshapen patterns, have been replacing the real brands. They are often repetitively similar or just plain ugly. Covet Fashion still hasn't made an official announcement yet about their departure away from real-life brands, but fashion designer Kendra Jade has shared an email she received from Covet Fashion, which states, "We're making adjustments to in-game brand content and will no longer be introducing new seasonal brand collections. Moving forward, there is no requirement to provide new assets." How bad are these changes really? Well, let's take a closer look at the new clothes that you can purchase in-game. Here are 2 light blue butterfly shirts. First, I want to point out how similar they are. Same shade of blue, both featuring yellow and red butterflies, same sleeve length. By and large, these 2 shirts are the same. Now, let's take a closer look at these butterflies. They're weird and blobby, randomly phasing into each other. The shoulders on the left one have random patches of lime green. The left one has some details when it comes to the butterflies. They almost look like monarchs if monarchs came in colors like red or yellow. But the right shirt just features blobs vaguely reminiscent of butterflies. At first glance, this sweater doesn't look so bad. A nice pink turtleneck. But take a closer look at these details. These odd lines do nothing for the sweater. When they generated this with AI, did they ask it to include wrinkles? This looks like the crappiest polyester hoodie you could buy on Shein. Bring back the high quality brands, please. How about this dragon t-shirt? Okay, I know dragons are mythical creatures, therefore they could look like anything, but what the heck are these eyes doing up so high? I have never seen eyes on any creature, real or fake, appear on the top of the head like that. Here's a red dress. Cute, lacy. But what the heck is this? It's like a veiny artery. I am uncomfortable at its placement right over the crotch area. It is so wrinkly looking. Let's move on. I am uncomfortable. Some of the AI generated garments aren't crazy, but just simply low effort and ugly. In this orange top, the lines are phasing in and out of existence in a way real fabrics would never do. These cable knit sweater dresses are alarmingly ugly, not realistic at all with the way that it shapes and forms. And this blue sweatshirt looks like it's just pretending to know what the word plaid is, especially on the sleeves. If you've never played Covet, here's what the clothes look like before the advent of AI. There's no weird lines or patterns phasing in and out of existence. Note that each garment comes from a real-life brand. It's supporting real people's fashion dreams, and many of the brands featured in Covet are small businesses. Kindred Jade laments this change, saying, 2 days after Covet celebrated their 12th birthday, I received an email notifying me that my partnership with Covet was terminated. The core of the game has changed. Covet gave me no notice, and I wanted to stay quiet until my last few pieces released, and so that I could grieve this chapter privately for a short time before all of Covet land became a buzz. This chapter with Covet Fashion is shot, but my dreams of designing and selling gowns and angel wings isn't. And your love for my brand has given wings to a special vision. No words can express how I feel for you angels. Covet gave me a chance at a global audience I never would have reached. Let's take a break from the AI conversation to talk about a far older issue, racism and racial prejudice. To explain a little backstory, Covet used to offer 2 different types of models that you could style with, classic or modern. Classic is where you picked the skin color of your model. In the modern mode, the skin color was chosen for you. I liked this for several reasons. For one, it leveled the playing field, taking race out of the equation in voting. It also saved time and simplified the styling process. It was also nice because it varied up the body type of the character that you edited. But in August 2025, out of the blue, we get a message notifying us that Covet Fashion will be discontinuing the modern version, and everyone will be switched to classic. Why? My only assumption is, of course, money. It takes money and time for Covet to resize the clothes for different body sizes, so of course they're gonna cut it. Okay, whatever, so I'm switched to classic. Not the end of the world. I typically try to add in some diversity as I'm playing, picking different skin tones from my own. But I'm really struggling to find makeup and face looks that look good on any other skin tone besides white. It's so incredibly evident that Covet Fashion was made with only white people in mind. The modern version offered facial proportions fitting for the women that you were styling. With classic, it's a different story. There is not a single nose that isn't teeny, tiny, and Eurocentric. At my level, I have 270 different makeup looks to choose from, and not a single one of them has a nose that looks like it might be found on a POC face. Beyond me just being annoyed, there's a darker question hiding under the surface. Is Covet telling us that the only faces that are pretty are Caucasian faces? And how about the issue of styling with Asian facial proportions? When styling a character meant to be Asian, I'm forced to choose between a handful of eye options that are almost comically slanted, like a caricature of an Asian person. When looking through my 270 makeup options, I see only 10 faces that have Asian facial proportions. That's a mere 3%. That's all we get? Not to mention, Asian isn't a one-size-fits-all label. There's so many ethnicities within this category, and I don't know if Covet Fashion properly represented this community. This is not a new realization for me. I've known from the start that Covet doesn't offer diverse looks in-game. There's only 15 afro or dread looks that I have access to at my level. That's only 5% of the available hairstyles. 5%. I struggle to style black women because I'm forced to pick between a few lackluster kinky hair options or sticking with a 1A to 2C hair type. Covet Fashion essentially forces players to stick to white skin tones because they're so much easier to style. As I mentioned before, a key aspect of the game is voting. I've noticed something odd recently. A large amount of the looks I'm voting on are made by people with profile pictures that are AI generated. I find this a bit odd. Of course, there are definitely people out there who would use AI-generated profile pictures, and a large demographic of this app is built of older women. And sometimes older demographics don't quite understand the harm that can come with generative AI. But when I look at my own fashion house full of other real players, there's not a single AI profile picture to be found. I have this weird feeling in my gut that maybe Covet Fashion is faking the profiles and the looks of other people while I'm voting. If this is true, it would ruin the entire gameplay of the app. When I style a look, I know it's going to be judged and voted upon by other real users. What if the people I'm voting on aren't actual people? They're just randomly generated looks made by fake usernames and fake profile pictures. I have no real proof of this, but I have no way to prove that the people I'm voting on are real either. I think only with the test of time, we'll see if this game truly does die. Evidently, Covet Fashion must think that they're going to save money by switching to AI-generated clothing instead of real clothing from real brands. Cutting out the real brands and the time it would take them to digitize the real brand's clothing will save them time and money. But what happens if the loyal customers leave? The money Covet's saving by cutting out the real brands won't matter. If you turn your entire fanbase against you, remove the key feature of your product, and fundamentally change the game, you won't be left with much. And there's a growing public sentiment among the players of Covet Fashion that the game is cheap and doesn't care about their users. At some point, you reach the realization that you have to uninstall the app and not look back. And with that, I say goodbye to 10 years of fun and creativity.